Thank you for tuning in to the Swansboro Commissioner Candidate Forum, here with the Tideland News in association with the Carteret News-Times. On the evening of Monday, October 6th, at Swansboro Methodist Church, local organization Common Sense Swansboro hosted a candidate forum for the community as a means of establishing dialogue between citizens and candidates. Here, the candidates Jeffrey Conway, Pat Turner, both incumbents, sat in a panel alongside fellow candidates Wayne Herbert and Tim Vanoy.
Give you
The
each
candidates
a
fielded a
fair
series of
question.
4 questions by Tideland's
First
own
question
Jimmy
will
Williams,
start
who moderated the
with
forum.
Commissioner
Each
Conway,
candidate was provided 3 minutes to
and
respond to each
then
question,
we will
with the
proceed.
questions being 1. What will guide your decision making as a commissioner? 2. How would you describe your approach to growth and development in Swansboro? 3. Would you vote to increase taxes? And 4. What is your position on the proposed Emergency Operations Center and/or new public safety building? Additionally, how would you use the $9 million in state appropriated funding, and what is your view on eminent domain for the project?
Alphabetically. The first question is,
It was time for the
what
panel
would
to
guide your
begin sharing
decision
their point of
making
views.
as a
Incumbent
commissioner?
Commissioner Jeffrey Conway spoke first with his
What will
take
guide
on the
your
initial question
decision
concerning
making
what would
as a
guide his
commissioner?
decision making as a
Common
commissioner.
sense. I mean, there's sometimes you can't find the answer whether through any data, and it'll tell you otherwise. But something just tells you, you know what, that's not right. So for me, I kind of do a little bit of both, whether common sense or data digging type of thing. So, and of course, everybody's opinion, what other people say. I don't know everything. Nowhere near, not even with all of us put together, do we know everything. And as I've proven over the last 4 years, I listen to what people have to say. And I don't only just listen, I do what I say I'm going to do.
I definitely want your input. Your input's important. If I develop a plan in a vacuum, it's not going to be probably a very good plan. I learned that a long time ago in the Marine Corps. And you should drive the agenda. I shouldn't drive the agenda.
I think you have to look at everything with an open mind. When we come into a meeting and you have 5 commissioners and a mayor, there's 5 commissioners that will have an opinion on something. You have to be open to listen to what everybody has to say, what each person is being presented. You have to look at the land use, you have to look at CAMA results, you have to look at zoning requirements, and you have to just have an open mind.
So my approach will mirror my planning board currently experience and consider the planning board's recommendation and weigh the residents' input. I think that disconnect has been lost between our planning board, and our residency. And I assure you, when I make a recommendation or I do a vote, that I will understand the facts. And I will not make a vote off the majority. It will be the facts.
Then the candidates took to answering question number 2. How would you describe your approach to growth and development in Swansboro?
I think we have to look at the land use plan again. There is no lot of property left in Swansboro, but we have to make sure that it's zoned appropriately. 24 is almost all gone. We hardly have anything left in 24. So it's up to the commissioners and the citizens to come up with a land use plan that's going to be good for Swansboro in the future.
Then came question 3. Would you vote to increase taxes?
Absolutely not. I will not. I have said that in every single election that I've run. I will not vote for an increase in taxes. Period. Amen.
I've said it since day one for me. I will never vote to increase tax. Never.
While both incumbents simply stated they would be against increasing taxes, both candidates, Herbert and Vanoy, offered more nuanced perspectives.
Something's got to give. We don't want to fly rich, but we want to maintain what we have in our town. Wayne Herbert and myself, over the past 3 months, have had a chance to walk around with the town manager and with all the different commodities within the town. Just so you know, our longest tenured police officer that's on the road is 2 years. Did y'all hear me? 2 years. And the reason being is the town cannot compete with Camp Lejeune, with Morehead City, with Jacksonville. Our fire department has the same issue. Our rec center has the same issue. They make $3 less than if they were at the Jacksonville Rec Center. So saying that I wouldn't do taxes, raise taxes, but we also got to keep people here that want to work here, that want to function, get to know the people, the residents. I would like to say that you can't raise taxes, but we do still have to support their salaries. We have to give them things to make them want to stay here. And I would ask you, if you ever have a chance, go get the town manager. Ask him to walk around. I'm telling you, our fire department, police department enjoy walking us around, showing what they had to work with. And I'm telling you right now, you will be amazed of the shortfalls that they have in this town. You'll be amazed the sleeping quarters that our fire department has to sleep in, where the walls do not meet the roof, the ceiling, where you got birds nesting in their berthing area. Those are the type of things that we have to fix here. We have to keep our people here. We need to find a way to do that. And this is not a problem. This has been a problem. So I can't answer that straightforward. I would wish not to be able to raise taxes, but we got to keep our people here. And we can't lose. We're down a police officer now.
These property taxes on the people of Swansboro. To put it in perspective, I mean, we haven't had a tax raise since 2012. Our tax rate of 35 cents is the second lowest in Onslow County. It generates roughly 35% of our annual budget. Our annual budget is about $7.2 million. You know, our property was evaluated or reevaluated, I should say, in 22, so we're due for a reevaluation next year in 2026. So it'll be interesting to see how that impacts our property and so forth with the taxes with it. But to Tim's point, you know, I don't think anyone at this table has a crystal ball. No one knows some of the challenges that may come up in front of the town. We don't know who the next Hurricane Florence event might be or anything like that. But I can say unequivocally, I have no plans to raise your property taxes. Thank you.
Regarding the final question concerning their positions on the development of an emergency operations center in Swansboro, the candidates all proposed a myriad of perspectives.
By the way, in the domain, I think it's a no-go. I don't think that Swansboro is needed. That public safety building that we currently have is not adequate to support our fire department and police department. I'm all about getting a new public safety building, but I think there's a different way of doing it. I can assure you that we would need to look at how to get the most bucks out of that. How can we make sure that we have a facility that works for Swansboro, these things. We don't do it looking ahead for 1, 2, 3 years down the road. That we're looking at what it's going to do for the next 10, 20, 25 years. And those are things that are important. And we need to ensure that if we utilize that $9 million for what it's worth, that we use every penny of it and make sure it helps out Swansboro.
Thank you.
I don't understand why we would use eminent domain, and the way it was worded on the agenda was basically recommending approval, moving forward with that, when it would lead us probably to a very costly lawsuit from the landowner. And I don't think that's what the town is interested in. So at any time we would pursue anything like that, I'm just not a fan. When it comes to the public safety center, going back to what Tim was saying, having the opportunity to tour our current facility, it's pretty humbling, so we need to do something. But I'm an advocate that the number one course of action ought to be, let's build it right where the Public Works Center is right now. Let's relocate our Public Works Center to the Onwassa facility when we get use of it on Old Hamish Beach Road, so we can keep police and fire in their current location, so that we don't have to move them, and we don't have to move that infrastructure. We can build a new facility right there on site, maximize that opportunity. And when then have them transition into a new facility, and then we can get rid of the old facility and maybe turn that into a parking lot or something. Like if someone shows me that truly is not a realistic and attainable COA, then I'd be looking at other options in purchasing land. But that's when we get real expensive, obviously. We've got to do site prep, we've got to do highway prep, and then we still have to be the facility, build a facility that's going to house, right, fire, police, and EMS, and some type of emergency operations center. And I believe, as Jeff has said, and as Tim, we need to call it a public safety building. We don't need to call it an EOC anymore. The building itself is what's important for our first responders. We need to have a building that can withstand Category 4 storms to keep them safe so they can be prepared to keep us safe when we need them to respond.
If we look only 5-10 years, we're going to be looking at the same situation again. But at some point, we're going to have to make a decision, and it has to come pretty quickly so that we can spend this $9 million, or 9.4 that we already have. If we look only 5-10 years, we're going to be looking at the same situation again. But at some point, we're going to have to make a decision, and it has to come pretty quickly so that we can spend this $9 million.
My biggest thing is location, and my location, as everybody on the board knows, I would rather keep it on campus already. I mean, there's things that we can do.
After the panel had finished, our very own Caleb Lighty caught up with Lauren Brown, founder of Common Sense Swansboro, to gather her thoughts and perspective of how the candidate forum went.
We had a lot of help, though. Sanders, who runs the audiovisual for the church, was able to just execute that for us, which was great. It allowed us to live stream and record it for folks who couldn't make it tonight. We also had volunteers offer childcare, which was, again, a wonderful benefit because we wanted this to be a community event so folks could hear from the candidates.
Is it everything you expected, between turnout, the responses from the candidates? What are your thoughts there?
Pleasantly surprised. I think it's wonderful to have that sort of unscripted, just hear from the public and have that interaction. I think we're seeing more of that desire too from the public to want to know, to ask questions. And I think they gave very thoughtful answers to the questions they were asked, and they didn't know what questions were going to be asked of them, so they were thinking on their feet a lot.
Doing another one of these, is there a plan to do another one? The turnout was pretty great. Are you hoping to do this again? What's the thought there?
If I could dream for a bit, I would love to do more of that sort of town hall interaction. So to do something like this, maybe after the election when we have a board, to do something where we are inviting dialogue and having people come ask questions outside of a voting scenario. But, just to allow the public to weigh in more and to be in the know. We wanted this to not be a meeting for Common Sense Swansboro. It very much was just a love letter to the community of saying we're putting this on for everybody. Even those folks who can't vote. A couple of the commissioners spoke to our neighboring areas where the decisions we make in Swansboro affect them. So even though they're not voting, they'd probably want to know what's going on and be more engaged. So just trying to give folks that opportunity to do that.
This is a nonpartisan event.
Yes.
Is there a plan or a thought, or is this something that's been discussed between you and the members of Common Sense Swansboro? Is there a candidate you guys are trying to promote, or is this we're continuing to stay nonpartisan? What's the plan there? What's the goal with this whole election for you guys in the organization?
We are decidedly nonpartisan. That's actually one of the tenets of Common Sense Swansboro, because I do think local issues supersede anything at the federal level. And even our makeup right now, just the differences of opinions and politics is a strength. We're bringing together lots of different mindsets, different backgrounds, different professions, and giving them an avenue to have that dialogue together to come to solutions. It's not even a bipartisan thing. It's just nonpartisan. It shouldn't factor into it at all in a perfect world. Because we're not a nonprofit and we're not an organization, we're actually not backing any candidates. We're not doing any sort of campaign finance or anything like a PAC, although, again, in the future, maybe that's something we could grow into. We saw from tonight, there's a lot of good candidates, which is a great problem to have as a town, narrowing it down. I mean, I do have my personal favorites that I'll be voting for, but I think out of respect, I'm going to keep that close to vest.
Can you give us a plug where we can find more information so that way our readers and our listeners can find you guys and find more about what you guys are trying to do here?
Yes, thank you so much. So on our Facebook, Common Sense Swansboro Facebook, I guess you Google it because there's not like a URL with that. We'll have the recording and the results from tonight. We'll put some things out for that. Also on our website, www.commonsenseswansboro.com. Didn't bury the lead there. We have plenty of information there. And then again, thanks to the Methodist Church for live streaming and recording this. So we'll make that available for sure.
Lauren, these are great answers. I really appreciate it. Nice job tonight. This ran beautifully. Thank you so much. Great job highlighting the candidates. Great job getting the words and the concerns of the community out there. So thanks.
Thank you, Caleb. I appreciate it.